Okie dokie. So we are going to try a little bit of streaming and hope that we don't get any more massive restrictions for no reason. And maybe it's the background. Maybe not. But there's only one way to find out, because TikTok gives you literally zero information, and you have to become a detective, basically, to find out why you're getting restricted. Okay, so let's get the title up on the board. Total extinction is the only right thing. Yeah. Total extinction to end all suffering. Oh, can't even fit it on. Let's see. Total extinction ends all suffering. There we go. And as always, no, that doesn't fit either. That's terrible. Ends suffering. There we go. We finally got a little sticker on. Oh, and it's been deleted. Thank you, TikTok. Amazing. Aren't you tired? No, I'm all right. If anyone wants to debate, let's have you. Let's hear it. And let's try and get that sticker back up. Yeah, I'm hoping and praying that the ridiculous amount of restrictions TikTok keeps giving me, maybe they just don't like AI backgrounds. So maybe this will fix it. Probably not, but only one way to find out. Extinction ends all suffering. There we go. All right, we've got Ollie coming up. Let's bring him on. Ollie, hello.
Hi, James. So you said that was hateful for like hating on rich people, but they're like the most pro-life people possible. So I believe that we should hate on them.
No, hatred is a bad thing, right? Hatred is not something to encourage. It's bad for you. It's bad for other people. We should have compassion and ethics. We should love.
Yeah, definitely. But like compassion and ethics for the sufferers and the people who are suffering. The rich,
but the rich people
horrible.
suffer as well. They suffer too. So we have to have compassion for everyone, even bad people.
Even bad people, like Nazis and like fascists and people like that.
Yeah, because they never chose to be born, right? So they've been put in, they're victims of the situation just as much as anyone else. So yeah, bad people can suffer, and we should make them safe too.
I mean, definitely they can suffer, but at the same time, they also have horrible views, and they also make other people suffer. So what obligation do we have to care about bad people, you know?
Well, you're saying we should make them go extinct first. That's not a practical thing to do, right? We're not going to have the entire structure for extinction have a massive detour to, target rich people, basically, and to discriminate against them. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen. This is the least discriminatory movement in the world, basically, right?
I suppose that makes sense, but I still do believe that we should have a negative attitude towards rich people because, they still make people suffer, but
a better attitude to have is understanding, right? So hatred and stuff like that, that's a lack of understanding, right? It's like, oh, I don't like them. But it's better to sort of position yourself above the rich people, look down upon them, and understand that they are trapped in their selfish, animalistic mentality, basically, right? It's not a good thing for them either.
Actually, it does make sense because, sort of selfishness and sort of this greed we have is not only shaped by our economic system, but by nature. So I suppose that makes sense. So, understand them.
Yeah, it's mostly by nature. Nature is the main...
That's all I just wanted to ask.
Yeah. No worries. Thank you, Ollie. But yeah, just to emphasize that again, our movement is not about hatred or anger. It's the opposite. It's about compassion and love and empathy and providing safety. Okay? It's not about destroying the world or tearing it all down. It's simply about providing safety, right? And doing it ethically and as fair as possible. Hello, how you doing?
I'm okay.
Great. Do you have any questions?
What about you?
Questions? Sorry.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
What this is about?
So this is about ending all suffering, basically. There is terrible suffering in the world, and there's no reason for it to exist. We should simply make it so that suffering is impossible. Nobody is being born into a terrible life. And so total extinction actually helps with that, right? It provides safety from suffering. And yeah, there's no real reason for life to exist to suffer terribly anyway, right? And actually, life should never exist in danger. So, we live in a dangerous world, and that's not a good thing. It's not a good place to exist, essentially.
What about you extinct only yourself and everything just wipes out? You're gonna forget everything. It's gonna...
Extinct isn't a verb. It's not actually a real word to extinct something.
My English is so bad. I don't know.
But also, extinction doesn't apply to individuals, right? It applies to the entire species. So you can't extinct an individual.
What happens after death?
You rest in peace.
So nothing happens, like it was.
You rest
before...
in peace. That's it. That's it. You just nothingness. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be nice. I promise.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it. Trust me.
What if we just live our lives until our death?
Then you'll suffer terribly, and that will be much worse.
What if wipe out only people that thinks that they are suffering?
But everyone suffers. Everyone suffers. So that's why you have to have total extinction.
But some people might think that they're not suffering.
Right, but then if they get unlucky, they will suffer. So that's not okay. Unless you do total prevention of suffering, then suffering is going to happen, right? And that's not okay. It's not acceptable. It's not ethical. Nobody should be tortured, and there's no point in allowing it. There's no reason to allow that, right? So we shouldn't allow cruelty and torture and misery and trapping people into extreme suffering. It shouldn't be allowed.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, what are you doing for it?
Activism. So we're growing the movement until we have enough people to run the world ethically and then begin doing extinction.
How many people do you need? All of them?
No, we don't need everyone. Most revolutions and societal changes in history have relied on a small number of people, like 1% of the population. So we don't know how many people we need, but the more we have, the better.
If everybody, imagine everybody is gonna agree on that, and what should we do? Take a pill that kills us, or what?
No. So we need to work towards the most vast and thorough extinction possible. So it's not about just removing life. It's about preventing life from ever coming back, making sure you got all of them, making sure they don't come back. So we have to scientifically determine what is the most vast and thorough extinction possible. And so that is going to rely on developing science, pushing science to its limits, and exploring how vast and how thorough we can be with extinction. Can we go beyond Earth? Can we do the whole universe? Can we only do Earth? So we have to push it until we can say, right, yeah, that's it. This is the limit of how vast and thorough extinction can be. So let's do it. But that could take a long time, right? But even if it takes thousands of years, it's better to be more thorough, more safe, to prevent billions of years of more suffering.
You don't want kids, right?
Well, we do need more children temporarily until we've completed the mission. So we can't allow humanity to go extinct until we've helped others and provided maximum safety, the best extinction. And so the more humans we have, actually, the better. The faster we can do a proper extinction, relying on, the science and technology to do it as well as possible, as thoroughly as possible. So yeah, the more humans we have, the more scientists we'll get, the more powerful humanity will be, and the sooner we can do the best extinction possible.
I love your answers. And so you want kids?
I don't like the idea of having children myself, but we encourage human reproduction, and we specifically encourage, well, it's good for activists to have children, but it's even better if they can donate sperm and genetic materials, right? You can have thousands of children who are going to have, your level of, well, potentially have your intelligence and be able to help with extinction.
Oh, how old are you?
I'm 32.
32. And in what age that idea came to you?
Well, I didn't start the movement. It started 4 years ago by somebody else, and I joined 1 year ago.
Oh, that's great. So, before that, who you were, like, what was your job, and do you have wife or girlfriend, or did you have?
I have a girlfriend. Yeah. I've had lots of jobs. I've done construction. I've been a teacher. I've been a door-to-door charity fundraiser. I worked at Amazon. Yeah, I've had quite a few jobs basically. I've also been to university. I've got a first-class degree in Hispanic Studies, which means Spanish and Portuguese language, and history and literature.
Does your girlfriend agree with you?
So funny story. My girlfriend. Well, funnily enough, I got with my girlfriend at pretty much exactly the same time that I joined the pro-extinction movement, and she's always been completely against it. But she has recently started to change her mind and say that she now is starting to agree with it, basically.
Did you study philosophy?
No, I did do 1 year of philosophy at school, but it was really boring and I hated it and it was disappointing. And our movement actually condemns philosophy. Now, logic and philosophy is a good thing, but most people just use philosophy for selfish reasons. So, most of the philosophy books are just about how to live your life selfishly, basically. And so it does nothing to actually help make the world a better place. It's just for a bit of fun, basically. So most philosophy is not really good enough. But yeah, if philosophy was actually useful and helpful, like we're trying to make it, then yeah, we'd support it more. But yeah, most philosophy in the past is pretty useless and terrible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay, Mad, thank you for coming up. You should consider joining our Discord and our WhatsApp group. The link to everything is on my profile on TikTok. You can check out the link to the website with our FAQ, our manifesto, our WhatsApp group links, our Discord links. You can read all about the movement, become an activist. Hello, how you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I want to ask you, what, do you think that ideology will ever run on that earth, or do you think it's just a good idea, but it will never actually happen?
Yeah, we do think it is possible, and we are trying to make it happen, basically. Yeah.
I don't think the amount of people that will agree on it will be enough. I don't think so.
Yeah, well, it's easy to think that, but we shouldn't lose hope, right? And, we may be able to do it with a minority, right? So we don't necessarily have to have a majority of the population. We may well be able to do it with a minority of the population. But we could get a majority of the population, right? Who knows? A million years from now, maybe everyone will agree with pro-extinction, right? But we'll never know until we're actually trying to do it. You get me? Oh, they left. I didn't realize. Okay, we've got Hamza in the queue. I've just recently made a video for Hamza, so that'll be interesting.
Yo, oh my goodness.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good, I'm good. What about you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Great, great. It's amazing to be here. Hey, so first of all, I got just one simple question. Is your life worth living?
We would say that no life should exist because we're all in infinite danger. Also, just give me 1 second. I just got to click on something on my phone. I'll still be able to hear you, so keep going.
All right. So if your life isn't worth living, then why wouldn't you be a good example and just, start with yourself? I'll just wait for you.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we need to do it in a fair way for everyone, make sure that nobody suffers. And if we only start with ourselves, then that's being selfish. That's not helping anyone else. It's actually leaving them to rot, leaving them to suffer terribly. So it's, really selfish to do that, basically.
Okay. I see. So your life does have an instrumental value, if you can call it that. Because apparently,
Yeah, I mean,
it's
we're only
what's your
continuing
essential-
to expose ourselves to danger so that we can help others be safe from the danger of life and existence.
Okay, so there is actually a way living a life worth living.
It's not about worth living. It's about doing what's necessary to provide safety and to do the right thing.
And if it's
It's about
necessary
doing what's
to help
necessary to
others-
do the right thing, not living selfishly.
Yeah, but then, but then you're just making excuse to stay alive, aren't you?
No, it's the opposite. It's not about finding an excuse to stay alive. It's about there being a necessary reason to stay alive because it's necessary to help others.
Yeah, but if it's necessary to stay alive, then how is your life inherently not livable?
Oh, well, that's a great question. It's not that it's not livable, it's that we're all in infinite danger. So, I could get hit by a car tomorrow, end up with brain damage and chronic pain, and be begging for death with no access to euthanasia, right? So that would be a bad thing. And just because that hasn't happened yet doesn't mean that it's okay that it can happen at any time, right?
Okay, wait. In this exact moment, you as a pro-extinction activist, is for you the non-existence for yourself? I'm only talking about yourself. Is for you non-existence better than existence?
Well, yeah, because again, you have to understand that existing in infinite danger is always a bad thing.
But then, how is it selfish to just prefer the positive or the better life?
Wait, what?
For you right now, you're saying it's better for you to be non-existent than existent.
No, like on a personal level, I would be safer if I didn't exist, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean that's your movement, right? That you're saying because life is inherently full of suffering, or the probability to encounter a great amount of suffering is just so high, then life inherently is not worth living.
It doesn't matter how high it is, right? Even if there's only a really low chance, it's still better off to not be in that danger.
Yeah, sure. But then you're saying that your life right now is worth living in the sense that you're helping others to be safe of existence.
No, it's not that life is worth living. That's where you've got it twisted.
But if your life, then your life is worth living, isn't it?
Well, no.
So why stay alive?
The thing is, you're trying to twist it into something that I'm not saying, right? You're trying to strawman it, basically.
No, I mean, I'm saying that your ideology is just basically contradictory if you're staying alive.
So it would be less contradictory, you think, if we were really selfish and only cared about ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, Hamza, thank you for proving once again that you are incapable of understanding selflessness, right? Anything that's not completely selfish
I'm not saying
and egotistical is just like impossible to understand for you. So that everyone has the same problem. It's not just Hamza. This happens all the time. People say, hang on, if life is bad, then why aren't you, dealing with it for yourself? And the answer is, yeah, we would be better off doing that, but it would be selfish, right? That doesn't help animals. It doesn't help anyone else. That's the most selfish thing you could possibly do. And so, yeah, making sure that nobody has to suffer, that's the right thing to do. But unfortunately, humanity evolved to be extremely selfish, like very, very, very selfish, which is why people like Hamza are incapable of understanding empathy and helping others and selflessness. It's something that they're actually incapable of understanding. Now, it sounds like I'm having a go at him and I'm joking and I'm exaggerating, but I'm actually being serious. I'm actually telling the truth. People have genuinely evolved to be incapable of understanding selflessness. And the reason for that is that they are selfish themselves. So if they were able to understand selflessness and the virtues and, goodness of it, then they would be more likely to become selfless themselves. So it's only by preventing that understanding, as well as lots of other understandings, that evolution managed to make sure that people would be selfish and not selfless. And yeah, so that's a perfect demonstration of what I'm saying, and you can see the science of nature and evolution in practice when you can see people unable to understand the idea of being selfless and helping other people. So they're not even able to think about that idea. They're not even able to process the concept of selflessness, which means that they're not able to think about it properly, which means that when they're trying to think about it, their brain is quite literally throwing a spanner into the gears and preventing them from understanding why somebody would be selfless and how it works exactly. Because by preventing that understanding, it means that they stay selfish, right? They cannot validate the idea of selflessness. They can't understand it. And so they can't become it. They can't be selfless because their brains don't let them. They can't understand selflessness because their brains don't let them, right? Because it's a threat to their survival and to their selfishness. And again, I'm not, hating on him. I'm not, trying to insult him. This is genuinely the truth of the science. Okay, let's see. We've got lots of more people in the queue. Let's move on. We have Handoyo. Hello.
Hello,
How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah, do you have any questions for us today?
I agree with you. I used to have like OCD and some sort of kind of mental health disease, so I was kind of like I I wish I was never born like that, and I'm scared after that there will be what is called
More suffering, basically.
eternity life. I'm so
Yeah.
scared of the concept of eternity life, like going to hell. And also, I'm so scared if I able to go to heaven, I still sin and go to hell. So I support you and I agree that extinction is better to end all of suffering.
Thank
Like
you.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we do extinction, then there won't be new people being born who will go to hell, right? So, look, our movement is atheist. We don't believe there is a hell. We don't believe there's reincarnation. But even if there is hell and reincarnation, then extinction is still the right thing to do so that nobody is being born to then go to hell, right? So it prevents billions of years of more suffering and billions of years of new victims, right? New victims to suffer. Okay, we've got lots of people in the queue, which is great. So let's try and get through some of them. Right, Stevel has been asking to come up. Let's try and get them on. And yeah, everyone else who has an opinion or a question, put it in the chat. If I get a chance, I'll try and read it. All right, Steve L, we are trying to bring you up, but it's not loading you on for some reason. So we have lots of other people in the queue. We're going to move on to somebody else. Hello, how you doing?
Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Hello. I just wanted to ask you a few questions if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Yo, can you
Like
hear me?
Yeah, Steve, we're going to have you on next, so just hang tight there, Steve. Yeah,
so
W5, go ahead.
like what made you like actually be pro extinction?
I like to think that it's from thinking about the world and what I should be doing for the world. Most people don't do that, and most people are not willing to do activism and to actually get involved in the world, and that's kind of part of the problem, which prevents them from thinking about the world properly, is that they're not thinking about the world, right? Most people see the world as like a threat, a problem, something you have to deal with, like, ugh. Whereas extinctionists are people that have said, right, this world is terrible. How can I make it better, right? How can I make it perfect? And so, yeah, once you're thinking about it properly and you're taking it seriously, you start to realize just how much suffering there is in the world, because you have to think about it in order to understand the situation properly. And so that is really the first step that most people fail to take.
Okay. Are you religious by chance?
No.
No, you're not. I'm sorry if it's like coming off as an interview or something. I've just seen you like a few times on my For You page and I found it really interesting. Not to be rude, but do you have like any type of mental illness that could be like could people use as an argument
No.
for why you're saying this? No, you're completely healthy.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm sorry if this is like a repeater question. How would you like go for it if you went like if it actually would be able to like go? I'm sorry. If it like if you were able to make it happen, how would you do it?
We'll do it however is necessary, right? All options are on the table, but we'll just do it in the best way.
Exactly. So what would the best way for you be?
Well, yeah, we have to take over the world by doing peaceful activism to get enough people, and then start running the world ethically, start doing euthanasia for animals, right? Get rid of the animals, and then research.
Oh, so you want to get total extinction of every species on the planet, not
So,
just humans.
we're working towards the most vast and thorough extinction possible, which could include the universe. So we have to scientifically determine what is the most vast and thorough extinction that we can do, and then carry it out. But in order to determine what's the most vast and thorough possible extinction, we're going to have to push the limits of science all the way to the ceiling, basically, so that we can provide as much safety as possible and make it as safe as possible for as much of the world as possible. If we don't do this, then it's going to cause a lot more suffering. We may be able to prevent billions or trillions of years of suffering just by continuing on for a few hundred or thousands of years ourselves. So we should keep reproducing temporarily, and actually the more humans we have, the better. For every human there is on the planet, it actually reduces suffering, because you prevent millions of wild animals from existing. And you can also be part of the solution to providing the most vast and thorough extinction possible, which again is probably going to involve future science and technology. And it's not about waiting for that to exist, it's about going and making it. So yeah, our movement is all about action, activism, not waiting around, but making things happen.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So if someone was like that too, how would I, as an example, like what would I have to do to like support it?
Yeah, lots of people are joining the movement every day, and the best way to support it is to make videos trying to grow the movement. We have people, lots of people doing live streams on TikTok, debating people, doing the exact same thing as me. We have people on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere basically, making videos, growing communities, growing their channels. If you get 100,000 followers on TikTok for extinction, then you're going to be pushing the movement, further forward, right? It's going to be probably going to be very helpful, right? You're going to get lots of new activists, lots of attention, lots of education for people by doing that. So that's what we're focusing on. And look, the first step is to grow the movement. And before we start thinking about other things, right? We are thinking about other things, and we are doing lots of other stuff. Like we have a genetics program where, for example, some of us are donating sperm so that we can get more empathetic and rational people out. If you have thousands of kids, basically, some of them are going to become activists, and that could potentially be a better way of doing activism than trying to talk to people, because the number of people who are going to do activism for extinction is tiny. So low, in fact, that actually reproducing activists is actually a valid option and potentially even the better way to get new activists. So that's something that we're looking into as well. We're exploring the science of psychology, genetics, intelligence, rationality, all of this stuff. So we're not just making videos and stuff. We have people going out into the streets. We have people doing science. But in terms of taking over the world and working towards that, I think just the more people we have in the movement, the better for now, basically. And, we don't have to worry about doing a revolution just yet. We can worry about that, as time comes on, basically. But, the movement's essentially just started. So there's no need to be preparing for revolution
Yeah,
just yet.
exactly. I was just asking. And thank you. For my last question, how do people around you react when you tell them you're pro-extinction?
With confusion, fear, anger, all sorts of negative responses.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you so much. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you.
Yeah, thanks for coming up. Join our Discord, join our WhatsApp group. The links are on my profile. And we've got Steve in the queue. Let's see if he's still ready to talk. Hello.
What's up, bro? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Do you have any questions?
I made a video on you, right, and your pro-extinction movement, and that video was important, and you didn't respond to it because I was asking you to basically justify your beliefs, right? Like, why is suicide selfish in the first place?
Well, look, I'm not saying it's like the people that do that are evil or anything. But I am saying that it's better to end all suffering instead of just your own.
Right, but no. Can you answer why suicide is selfish in the first place?
Again, because you're only caring about yourself.
Yeah, but why is that selfish though? Right.
But caring about only yourself is the definition of being selfish.
By what standard? Like, isn't selfish
any
just a word
standard,
to
any standard, every standard.
No.
Caring only
What's
about
that?
yourself
Correct.
is the definition of being selfish. Like you're literally asking, what is the definition of being selfish? It's only caring about yourself.
But no, that's a word to describe what something is. It doesn't necessarily mean it's an objective truth, bro.
But it is true though, right? If you only care about yourself and you choose not to help others when you can,
I don't
then
agree
that's
with that. I don't
obviously
know.
selfish.
No, I don't know that. That's why I'm asking
It's
you to
obvious though.
justify.
It's obvious.
What you mean? Like, bro, you have to justify. You can't just say it's fucking obvious and
So if
want everybody to
if a
believe it.
child, do you think Elon Musk is a selfish person?
I don't know if he's a fucking selfish person.
Right.
I don't know
So
if
so
anyone
basically,
is a
you are
selfish person.
suffering from. Basically, we should start calling it philosophy-itis. Basically, right? So philosophy has rotted people's brains so badly that essentially they will no longer accept basic truths about reality. So that means that people have basically been brain rotted by philosophy into saying that no, we should have unreasonable, impossible standards for everything. So we shouldn't let the police help people until there is an omniscience level guarantee that it's the right thing to do at all times. So don't tackle that criminal until we've done the ridiculous, immense philosophy on whether or not we should. So that's what I'm saying. is that philosophy-itis will make you basically paralyze you into doing bad things, right? It will paralyze you into never being reasonable. Philosophy will make you unreasonable, basically. So it will make you require unreasonable standards. So, for example, we're saying animal abuse, abusing animals is a bad thing. And people will be like, but can you prove it? Ha ha! And it's like, well, look, philosophy has obviously rotted your brain. You're literally saying we have to prove that abusing animals is wrong, right? So it's like a slave owner saying, you can't prove that slavery is wrong, so can't take my slaves away. You can't prove it, right? And any argument you make, I'm going to say that's just your subjective morality. So that's it. Slavery is now totally okay. That is the problem, right? These people are saying, doing exactly what I just said, right? It's like a slave owner saying, you can't prove slavery is wrong. It's an unreasonable standard that is only used by unethical people. And I've said this before. People claiming that morality is subjective are only doing it for selfish objectives, right? The only reason to want morality to be subjective is so that you can be immoral, right? That is the only reason. It's so that you can say, well, you can't prove that slavery is unethical. And, morality is subjective. So if I say that slavery is ethical, then you just have to accept it. So that is the world that these philosophy people want to live in. They want total anarchy. They want no police. They want no morality. They want no ethics. They want pure selfishness. They want anarchy, a free-for-all. And I think part of it comes down to the fact that people are afraid of the right thing. People are afraid of doing the right thing. They're afraid of fairness. So that is actually one of the fundamental truths of human psychology, is that humans are actually, they evolved to be afraid of fairness, because it's essentially they've evolved specifically to feed on, exploitation and abuse. And again, I'm not saying this to be, offensive or vulgar. This is actually the scientific truth, that, humans evolved to be animalistic and selfish and cruel because animals did. So humans haven't magically snapped out of it. They've still got it, right? Humans are effectively no better, no more ethical than animals. Just think about it, right? The vast majority of humans are happy to exploit animals, to torture them, to eat them, and to just abuse them, basically. The vast majority, basically like 99% of humanity is happy for animals to be tortured for no reason, right? So that's what we're dealing with here. And incredible levels of selfishness and immorality, right? Being perfectly happy to abuse others and thinking that actually that's the right thing to do. So humans have literally evolved to think that abusing others is a good thing. And, don't take my word for it. Just look at the fact that 99% of humanity thinks that animal exploitation is an ethical, good thing, right? They literally think slavery is an ethical, good thing. So, that if that doesn't prove that humans are completely insane, then I don't know what will, right? That should be enough for anyone to realize that humanity is completely insane. Over 99% are happy for animals to be tortured just for no reason. And they're also happy for humans to be tortured and children to be tortured for no reason. So nobody is speaking out against the fact that child abusers are allowed to have children, right? Everyone is fine with it. Hello, how you doing?
So hi, I'm doing great. I think the only question I have to you is, why do you feel like you are the authority in this? Like, why do you get to decide whether we do an extinction. Is that the word you said?
Well, we have moral obligation. That's why, basically.
But why do you think it's moral to want to end all life on Earth? Because you're talking about animals. One,
Well,
it's
we don't want to end
almost
all life on
impossible
Earth.
to
We
do
want
it.
to end all suffering for as much of the world possible.
But not everyone in the world is suffering. So why would you want extinction
But
to end?
they can suffer. They're in danger of suffering. So it benefits everyone.
But some people will choose to continue the suffering because
But
not everyone
they
wants to.
can't make an informed decision on that. So people have actually evolved, and animals have evolved to be incapable of making responsible decisions for their own safety and the safety of others. So we do have to do it for them, and we can't respect their decision to that. Basically, again, they can't consent, right? They literally are incapable of consenting correctly, right? So when they're saying, yeah, I want to live and screw it, I'll take the danger, they are genuinely incapable of making that decision in an informed way. So we can't allow
Why
them
do you
to
think
keep
they're
causing
incapable
suffering
of
to us.
doing that? Because like we have measures nowadays of psychological parameters to determine whether someone is, capable of making those decisions.
Really?
You can disagree with them. You can disagree
Well, I
with them.
do. I do disagree with those parameters.
Yeah, you can disagree with them, but I feel like we are like if we are talking about extinction for everyone, we're infringing upon people's rights to determine whether they choose to suffer or not. Because
Yeah,
some
but
people
just because
do
people want to
recognize.
live doesn't give them the right to, perpetuate suffering. If we make total extinction optional, then guess what? People are going to be tortured horrifically to where, they didn't expect that to happen, and then it happens. So again, they can't actually consent
But
to this
I
properly.
think we're disagreeing with the basis of that because some people will choose to suffer. Some people want to, for example, be hit and they enjoy
Okay,
being
but
hit,
that is
right?
a
So
tiny
they're
minority,
choosing
right?
that.
The sadomasochism argument is a complete fallacy, right? You're literally talking about like 0.1% of the population. So that's a completely useless argument.
Why is it
Right, so
useless?
the
Because
fact
I
that
still
some
don't feel like
people,
you or I should be the authority.
listen, the fact that some people want to get spanked in the bedroom does not mean that we should allow animal abuse and extreme child abuse, right? So what on earth is wrong with you to say something like that? Literally babies are being tortured to death, animals are being
Correct.
tortured to death, and you think that, well, a tiny portion of humans enjoy a little bit of pain, so animal abuse is fine and human abuse is fine now. What on earth are you talking about?
I think I get your point of wanting to make the world better, but I don't think the way that you're
It's not about
choosing to
making the
go
world better,
about
it's
it.
about making the world safe for everyone.
But there's ways that you can improve
You see,
safety for
selfish people
everyone.
care about making the world better, whereas responsible people care about making it safer.
Yeah, but then again, we disagree with that because what's wrong
Go
with
for
being
it.
selfish? What's wrong with
What's
being
wrong with
selfish?
being selfish? Well,
Yeah.
it causes extreme suffering to innocent people and animals.
So
that's like really evil, basically. It's like the worst thing you can possibly do.
but that's the core of being human. You have the
Yeah,
choice to
exactly.
be evil if
The
you
core
want,
of
and you
being
have the
human
choice
is
to
being
be
evil.
nice
The
and
core
good.
so you're literally advocating for being cruel and evil.
I'm advocating for being whoever you want to be, and I'm advocating for
Okay,
you
you've
and I
heard it
shouldn't have to
from
choose.
Crystal Pigana here, guys. If you want to be a child abuser, do it, right? Just why not? That's her advice, right? And I'm not straw manning. I'm not putting words in her mouth. That is exactly what she said. If you want to torture children, if you want to torture animals, who am I to say no? So again, this proves what I've been saying. Humans are not capable of making responsible decisions for their own safety or the safety of others, right? And that just proves it, right? Most of them are completely insane. That was a perfect example. She's basically saying if you want to be a child abuser, go for it. So, that this is proving it. This is direct evidence, right? This proves that humans are completely insane, completely irrational. This is not some small level of mental problem. This is not a small mental deficiency. It's a gigantic one, right? It's basically the biggest mental disability possible, where you're literally allergic to logic, essentially. Somebody says something logical and you resist it, right? It seems illogical to you. And, vice versa, they think that insane things make sense, right? They think that it makes sense to say, if you want to be a child abuser, who am I to stop you? Go for it, right? Being selfish and cruel is a good thing. So yeah. So that's literally the level of insanity that we're dealing with, right? And this is not an exaggeration. I'm not trying to, put on a show to make an example of her. This is literally completely accurate, an accurate reflection of humanity, like all of them, like over 99% of humanity. They genuinely think, let people do whatever they want. And actually, this is making me realize that people have evolved to have some sort of obsession with consent, right? And agency. And basically they're saying, no, well, you should be able to do whatever the hell you want. Just like she said, if you want to be a child abuser, go for it. And I think that obsession with consent and agency, that they all have the same obsession, right? Well, you can't take away people's decision to, choose for themselves, and you can't do that to animals. Animals can't consent. So they have this obsession with consent and freedom, basically. It's more about freedom, I think. And part of it is that they're afraid of, again, fairness. They're afraid of a good system, an ethical system, a fair system, because they know it's going to take away their freedom. They know that it's going to take away their consent and their agency, right? But, as she proved perfectly, right, they care more about consent and freedom than they do about safety. So they would rather be free and, have freedom, even if it means other children and animals get tortured horrifically and don't have safety. So their freedom, their agency is more important to them than the safety of others, which again is basically just proof that humanity is pure evil, right? As selfish as possible, as unethical, as cold and uncaring as possible, right? They will literally come up and say, yeah, bit of child abuse, who cares? And if you want to be a child abuser, who am I to stop you? And should we end all suffering? No! Safety? No! A fair system for all? Oh my God, stop! Right? It literally triggers them. And the reason why is that we evolved that way. Okay? So think about a lion in nature. It would not have survived very long if it cared about the zebra it was killing. It would not have survived very long if it cared about the animals it was eating and, ripping to shreds, basically. So not caring about others and being selfish was strictly essential for life to evolve, right? So whether or not you're a predator or a carnivore, a herbivore, omnivore, whatever, it doesn't matter. Selfishness, not sharing your food and, prioritizing your own safety over others' safety. Being selfish was necessary to survive because the world is just so dangerous, right? A lot of animals will have like thousands of children and only one will survive. Sea turtles have hundreds and usually only one survives. So that shows you that, they have to be as selfish as possible if they want any chance of surviving. And unfortunately, humanity has the same problem, right? They are still animals, right? Just because we look, clean and tidy and, less animalistic doesn't mean that we don't have, billions of years of evolution still tucked away in here, basically. And yeah, this is essentially the biggest problem in the world, that humanity has a massive mental disability, which is causing them to be irresponsible, to cause and allow extreme suffering, right? 99% of humans are happy to abuse animals for a little bit of pleasure. I saw someone throw away a chicken breast in the bin the other day, and it made me think of how, that animal was tortured for its entire life, chopped up, just so that you could throw it in the bin and not even eat it. And yet, people don't even feel the slightest remorse or guilt when they do that. They're like, who cares, right? So, even just on the basis of, humans eating meat, like that alone proves perfectly. You don't need to prove beyond that. The humans are incredibly selfish monsters, basically. And yeah, an animal being tortured horrifically for its entire life to provide you one meal which you didn't even eat, and then you throw in the bin, and you feel no guilt, no remorse whatsoever. That just proves perfectly, right? Humanity is happy to torture children, torture animals, just for the chance of eating them, even if they don't actually eat the meal. It just goes in the bin. And it's not like, it's a shame that chicken had to go through that. It's like, oh well, what's on TV? So yeah, our respect for life, our ethics, our morality, it's in the gutter, basically, right? It's as low as possible, right? People have as little morality as possible, right? They say, yeah, torture animals, who cares? Torture children, who cares, right? So no one cares, basically. No one cares about all of the evil in the world, and people are too selfish to care and do the right thing. And people will just see all of the victims of suffering as their fodder. Like, oh well, collateral damage. Who cares, right? I mean, just the fact that people are happy for, tens of thousands of animals to be tortured for them is just mind-blowing. Hello, how you doing?
Howdy. So, why aren't you just like a vegan or something?
Yeah, I did go vegan, actually. I did go vegan.
Okay, that's great, because it's very easy to just be vegan and support ethical farming of animals, certified humane, or even just go switch back to hunting.
So I'm not a vegan anymore, because I learned that actually veganism causes more suffering. So when I'm criticizing,
you're actually kind of smart.
Yeah, but we should absolutely call for the end of animal suffering, farmed animal suffering, wild animal suffering. So even vegans aren't actually calling for the end of animal suffering, whereas we are. Say again?
You're kind of putting the cart before the horse. Why don't you just go after suffering at its root instead of, throwing out all of the good with the bad?
Because you have to throw out all of the good with the bad in order to make sure there is no bad.
How do you know that?
Well, can you suggest a way to end all suffering, to make
I'm
suffering
just saying,
impossible?
technology is improving every day.
So you can't.
And
So you can't. Got it.
Well, you can't prove that we won't find a way to end all suffering, or at least reduce.
I don't need
vast
to.
majority
I don't
of
need
it.
to. There is no way to do it without extinction now. So the victims need extinction today. There's no point in saying, "Oh, let's wait for a different solution," when we already have one.
Well, I don't. Well, there's a lot of reasons why to look for a different solution.
Yeah, selfish reasons, right? Purely selfish reasons.
No, it's not selfish at all to say.
It's not
that
selfish
all
to
life
allow
shouldn't-
suffering for your benefit.
No. You do not get to put words in my mouth.
Really? So you genuinely think it's not selfish to cause and allow suffering for benefit?
It's not a matter of causing and allowing suffering for my benefit.
It is, though. It is, right? You're exploiting animals, you're exploiting humans, so they're suffering
how is
for
my
benefit.
existence exploiting animals and humans?
Well, yeah, lots of animals and humans suffer terribly to support the lives of the privileged.
My existence specifically, one person's existence, how am I exploiting?
Well, if you're on a
animals and
phone,
humans?
then that was probably made by a slave.
Okay, so why don't you do activism to end slave labor?
Because we should end all suffering, not just some.
Yeah, but you can attack the problem directly instead of.
Yeah, we are. We are.
No,
doing
you're
that.
not. No, you're not.
Why not?
You're instinctively just throwing out. You're essentially selling your car for gas money. You're.
Well,
you're
let's
doing,
not talk about cars, because let's talk about the real
you know
world.
what an
right?
analogy is? Do you know what an analogy
Yeah,
is?
but do you know what a straw man
understand
is?
Analogy?
Do you know what a straw man is?
You like to act like you're a pseudo-intellectual, but you say something
it
like
is a
that.
straw man, though, right? If you're taking
It's not a straw man. You're simply saying
cars don't have
let's
feelings,
just end
right?
all life. Let's end all life, all meaning, all goodness, to get rid of bad. And what you're doing, you're putting the cart before the horse.
So but that's the way a slave owner thinks, right? It's like, well,
No,
we could end
it's
slavery,
not.
but what about all the money we make?
Don't try to paint me like that. You have to be intellectually
How is
honest
that
with me
different?
when you talk to
How
me.
is it different?
Because you are making an extremist claim here. You're saying, well,
You're
because
dodging the
you-
question. You're dodging the question. So how is it
I'm
different?
not dodging the question.
That's a
You
direct
made-
dodge of the question.
You made an absurd claim that what
All right,
I'm
let's-
saying is a slave labor mentality. You go ahead and explain why that's exactly the same as what I'm saying.
Well, that's another straw man.
That's not a straw man. You made an absurd claim. You said that's a slave owner mentality. So explain how that's a slave owner mentality.
Yeah, so the victims of extreme suffering are basically your slaves, right? Because you want them to suffer so that you can have fun.
Why are they my slaves? Explain how I am exploiting them.
Because you're benefiting from not helping them.
I'm benefiting from not helping them. So why is it the only way to help them is extinction? How does that help?
Because that's the only way to make suffering impossible.
It makes suffering impossible, but it also makes all of the good experiences impossible. I find it very
safety
rich.
comes first. Safety comes first.
How is it safe when you're not alive? How is it safe?
Because you can't suffer.
Well, yeah, you can't suffer, but you can't live either. It's not very safe.
So let me ask you a
when you're
question. Would
talking
you
about-
rather live in the worst conditions possible or to not exist?
I would rather live in the worst.
So you would
worst
rather live in.
conditions
So
possible.
you would rather be in hell instead of not existing.
Yes, there's a famous
And you would apply that to
philosopher-
others as well. So even though you would rather be in hell than not exist, you would make children and animals go to hell regardless of how they feel.
No, I never said that. But
But
you
that is
asked me a
that.
question.
Well, okay, you're done, right? Let's be serious. He's just going to keep saying, "No, I never said that," even though he just said that. Okay, right. We have a lot of people in the queue, so I'm going to have to bring on like 5 people from the bottom of the queue because the queue doesn't update. So we just have to assume that most of them won't come up. Luke, hello, how you doing?
Hello. I joined this. I asked to join like half an hour ago, and I forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. Do you agree with extinction?
Kind of. I get your idea.
I'll take it. That's good enough. But look, extinction is the only right thing to do to end all suffering, right? Suffering shouldn't exist. So, unless you're against suffering existing, then you support cruelty. You support animal abuse, right? And for what reason? So that the abuser can have fun? It's not worth it. Hello, how you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Good. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, what's your argument that suffering is even bad? Like all suffering is bad?
Well, it's the thing is, right, not all suffering is bad, right? If you're suffering for gains at the gym or something, then that's not really that bad. But there is extreme suffering, and that definitely is bad.
Okay, so your stance is that not even all suffering is bad, but we should have extinction because of suffering.
Yeah.
Do you find that like a little bit illogical?
No, it's about making sure that no animal is being abused, no person is being tortured. That is perfectly logical.
Okay, well, you're just gonna have to like make the claim that all of these things are always bad. Where's your like? How are you even grounding your
do you think
framework?
child abuse is good sometimes?
I'm not utilitarian. So
And
I
also,
we're
we
not-
don't have to prove that it's always bad, right? So the thing is, you have to have a zero tolerance policy on extreme suffering, right? Otherwise,
Yeah.
innocent
let's
victims
do
will get
a different
tortured.
route. How are you even grounding your like worldview? Like, are you like what ethics?
Logic, morality, ethics.
Okay. Are you like are you a moral realist? Are you a subjection? Like, where do you?
I'm an extinctionist.
Okay, but how are you grounding your ethics?
With logic, ethics, empathy, rationality, that kind of stuff.
Okay, are you religious?
No.
Okay, so you don't believe in religion.
No. I think
Okay.
for myself.
So are you a subjective? Like, do you believe in like do you think what the question would be? Do you believe that suffering is objectively bad?
Yeah.
Okay, and how are you grounding that? Like, how are you grounding that it's objectively bad?
Well, we know that it is bad for those who suffer it.
Okay, that's not my question.
Well, that's the answer, right? So if I mean, the thing is, right, if anything's going to be bad, it's going to be suffering. So yeah, we know that extremely negative things are bad, basically, right?
Okay. All right. So you were saying it's objectively bad that animals are like we cause animals to suffer, right?
Do you think that's questionable? Do you think it's debatable whether or not animals being tortured?
What you shouldn't do is
a bad
answer like my question with a question, right? So I said, do you think it's objectively bad that we cause animals to suffer?
Yeah.
Okay. And you think that there's no God, so we're just like animals, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So why would you say like dolphins need to be extinct? Like we need to like, cause an extinction of dolphins and other animals that have been known to like do these things?
To do what things?
That cause suffering.
They suffer, yeah. So yeah, we should make sure that there's no suffering. It's simple. We should have a suffering-free world. So it should be obvious.
So you're not trying to protect animals. You would have to like also exterminate them.
It's about but that protects them from suffering.
Okay, so what exactly are you trying to like cause an extinction of? Like biological, all biological life?
Yeah, the most vast and thorough extinction possible, right? That's the fairest, the best extinction, the biggest one.
So all animals.
Yeah, sounds like you need some time to sort of let that sink in. So we'll let you go away and do that. And after you've thought about it, feel free to join again. Hello, how you doing?
Fine, thank you. So I would say I'm not disagreeing with you about the extinction part, but I might disagree with you on the suffering part. Wouldn't it be a better pathway to choose like the survivability of our planet to make it the reason for extinction?
What do you mean to make it the reason for extinction?
So, for example, the Earth has these phases, and the invention of the Industrial Revolution by humanity has actually ruined the planet more. So I'm trying to argue here that, the extinction of humanity helps our planet recover and the animals in it can live freely.
Firstly, the planet doesn't have feelings, so who cares about the planet? And secondly, we have to do animal extinction as well because they suffer even worse than we do.
Well, yes, the system is built upon suffering. And my next question is this: where do you begin?
So we begin, well, firstly, you have to run the world as an authority. You can't do it, with an opposing government. Mm-hmm. And then you would start with animal extinction and researching the most vast and thorough extinction possible.
Okay, so what geographical location would you start from for both humans and animals?
Earth.
Yeah, but where specifically on Earth? So what continent do you want to start from?
We don't know that yet.
You don't know that? I just hope that America is the last one because I really like America.
Wow, I kind of had higher hopes for the intellectuality of that conversation, but I guess humanity disappoints me every day, so I just need to get used to it. Okay, moving on. We have the panda. Hello.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you.
So I just want to ask a question, right? You're saying that it's selfish for people to want to torture animals and all of this kind of stuff. It's selfish.
What a terrible thing to say, right?
No, because you're selfish in wanting to take every single person's life away, regardless of whether they're happy or not. You are the ultimate unselfish, right? Because you don't care if a family are happy, whether they've got kids, whether they've got money, etc.
So do you think we should care more about happy people than sufferers?
I think what we should do is focus on...
You're just going to dodge that question?
I think what we should... I'm answering your question, so shush, man. So I think we should get rid of the evilness in the world. If someone has a broken leg and they go to the hospital, do they shoot that person in the head and kill them? No, they fix that leg. It heals. That's what we need to do to the planet, right?
Well, the planet doesn't have feelings, okay? So who
I'm not
cares about
talking about the
planet?
planet as in the actual physical
Yeah.
planet.
Yeah,
I'm
but
talking
look,
about
we shouldn't have a better meat grinder. We should turn the meat grinder off, right? We should have a zero tolerance policy on suffering, and the only way to do that is with extinction. You can't make suffering impossible in any other way, and so it's not ethical.
What you're saying does not make sense, bro, because you're selfish. You want to kill every single person because there is some suffering in the planet.
So firstly,
Yes,
it's not because I'm
suffering-
selfish, and
Yes.
secondly, it's not about killing people. It's about making sure that there's no more killing and no more suffering as well.
But by killing everyone, you've said that killing is not the answer, but that's what you want to do. You
So
want to
if
kill
your
everyone.
problem is with killing, then extinction is your friend because it makes killing impossible and prevents billions of years of more killing.
Right. But what I'm saying is your outlook on everything is so selfish
How?
that let's have an example, right? You keep talking
How
about
is it selfish to want to make sure that everybody is safe?
just let me
how
speak,
is that
bro.
selfish?
Just for a second, let me speak, bro. You're talking
Well, no,
about
you've
animals.
dodged every question I've asked you at this point, right? So
No, bro.
I think we're getting a bit impatient now.
I'm asking you a question, so can you stop talking over me just for a second?
No, I think we'll just move on. Cool. All right, Primal Prophet coming up next. Hello, how you
hello.
doing?
So, hi, I'm good, thank you. I just have a handful of questions.
Yeah.
So, at what point in your life, like if you could pinpoint it to an age, did you decide that pro-extinction was the best option?
Yeah, I can pinpoint it very easily. It was June last year when I got invited to the movement.
Oh, so I thought you made the movement's the truth of it.
Nope. No, it
No.
started about 4 years ago. I joined 1 year ago.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So, was it your own birth? Do you think as you grew up and lived, you saw what went on around you, and that made you think, yeah, pro-extinction has to be the best option, and then you eventually learned about the party?
No, I think it's more about rationality, right? The capacity for your brain to determine if something is correct and if it's right, basically. So for me, when the movement approached me, they said that they were trying to end all suffering with extinction. And I immediately realized that it was the right thing to do and possible as well. Whereas most people struggle to do that, right? It's a big idea. It's too big of a concept for them to process, and they can't think about it properly. So that's why they struggle to understand that it is the right thing to do.
See, I'd love to act like I could have a really good debate here, but I can't. The only things I can think against it, well, I don't know, because I think your point is very good, is the truth of it. I had an idea, now, I don't know, I've lost it in the sense of...
So one way I like to think about it is this way, right? It's about making sure that we have the highest standards and safety and respect for life. So imagine like a 14-year-old boy who is like a complete psychopath. He's like the worst kid you've ever met in your life. Would you want that child to be responsible for like a group of animals? Probably not, right? They shouldn't be responsible for any life forms. And yet that's exactly what we have now, right? We have the lowest possible standards for life, where you can walk into a shop, buy an animal and start torturing it. Child abusers are having kids and laughing about it. And, they can't believe people are allowing them to do this. And no one cares, right? No one gives even the smallest care.
So as
we
a whole... Sorry.
Yeah, just to say that, in the same way you wouldn't let a psychopathic child have, animals to look after, we shouldn't let the world, have life that's just going to get tortured. Essentially, we are in the most dangerous conditions possible, the worst conditions possible, because nature has forced us into a barren wasteland where you just suffer, basically. So life just shouldn't exist like that.
Okay, so we're saying that since the heavy industrialization of everything, that that has what's caused the majority of the suffering, because now
so
you can.
suffering existed before humanity, right? And
Well,
most
yes,
of the suffering is with wild animals in nature
Thank you for
eating
letting me
each other
finish.
alive. So most suffering is not caused by the malice of others. It's not caused by bad actors. Most suffering is caused by nature.
So just the natural cycle of life, in a sense.
Not just that, but it's also a dangerous world, right? You can have an accident. The systems don't work perfectly. They work terribly.
Okay. Well, honestly, I can't really think of anything against it. I started this queue like 40 minutes ago, and I forgot my only 2 points.
Okay, imagine it this way. Think of it this way. Imagine that you're in a simulation and it's perfectly safe, okay? And you're having the best time. You're there for thousands of years. You're having a great time. And then someone says, right, you're now going to go and live in the real world, right? And we're going to push you out into infinite danger. There's a chance that you'll end up, with chronic pain and brain damage, and you're trapped in a life of pure hell. You'd be terrified, right? You'd be horrified of the idea of having to go out and just get tortured and get damaged, basically.
So, in your mind, would you say, so once we've lived human life, we died, would you say reincarnation is the worst possible thing you could imagine?
Well, we're atheists, so we don't believe in that.
Okay. Well, right. I mean, it's a bit of a theatrical question.
I suppose, to be reincarnated would be a terrible thing. I don't believe it's real.
Again, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, to say the least. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming up. Consider joining the movement. You can at least join the Discord or the WhatsApp group. The links are on my TikTok profile. So if you just click on that, you'll see the link. Then you can see the website, the Discord. You can read our manifesto, our FAQ. You can join the Discord and meet me and hundreds of other people on the Discord, and we can answer your questions. We can teach you to start doing activism, to start making videos, and to help grow the movement until we can make total extinction possible. Okay, we've got lots more people in the queue. Let's get the next person up. Sia, coming onto the stage next. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello from Ukraine. I
Slava,
have a question
Ukraine.
for you. Yeah, hello. So I have a question. Life has been existing on Earth for a million of years, like even when Earth was hot as hell. So how do you manage to cause total extinction even on small insects, for example? Like, don't you think that life is too stubborn to cause it like a total extinction?
No,
Like, how do you manage to do it?
given millions of years, we can probably find a way to do it, but probably with less time than that, right? We've had the internet for 30 years. Give it 1,000 years, we can probably do it.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for coming up. Yeah, most people make the mistake of limiting their thinking to today's science and technology. But extinctionism is about pushing those limits, developing, advancing, progressing the science and the technology to its maximum so that we can then use that superior science and technology to do the best extinction possible with prevention of life coming back. Lobcraft, hello, how you doing?
Hey, all right, how about you?
Good, thank you.
So, generally quite a fan of the movement. However, there's some points I think that they could be better. First, I think the website could be enhanced in a lot of ways. No big mentions about that. Then I think a lot of the activists are actually I don't know, a bit impolite, kick guests a bit soon, don't engage in really intellectual, honest guests for long enough of time.
I do agree with you on that, actually.
And one thing I really need to mention, I sometimes think, it's trying to build the roof before the foundation of a building, or it's trying to solve the last problem before solving all the problems before.
But this is the only problem worth solving, though.
I mean, in a way, but this is just thinking out of our limited perspective. I mean, because it's more or less, I mean, it's a techno utopian movement, more or less. It's are you familiar with like effective altruism or accelerationism, which just wants to get us moving and
they're jokes. They're jokes, though. If you've actually looked into either of them, they're just complete jokes. There's nothing there.
Yeah, but I mean, until humankind has become interplanetary or able to conquer the whole universe, pretty much the plan is the very same. I mean, all these movements are techno-utopian and just wants us to conquer the whole universe. And until we
would rather there be no humans to enjoy that. So it's not about utopia. We don't want there to be a utopia. We want there to be nothing. So you've got it completely wrong, basically, is what it sounds like.
I think... I think you share the same goals until like in 1,000 years.
You think we want to conquer the world to have a utopia? No, we want to have no world, no utopia. So it's kind of the opposite of what you said.
Yeah, I mean the utopia is to extinguish all life, which is the very key selling point of extinctionism. No.
No, that's not a utopia. Utopia is a different thing.
I mean, for me as somebody who's more like from the anti-utilitarian side, the utopian it's a utopian to not have any existence at all. So this at least let me frame it like this.
I think that's an unhelpful thing to do, though, because most people are going to think of utopia as life existing.
Yeah, I mean, this is the big question. If you're going for the like Abrahamic religions which want paradise, or more like Buddhism or Hinduism, which want extinction of the subject. So the question stays the same: is your utopia paradise or is it extinction? And I would also agree. Well, it should be extinction, but not only on a subjective level, but on a level for pretty much everything.
Yeah, we should do total extinction for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, for the next 1,000 years or so, the means will be the very same as the means of all the techno-utopian movements, and therefore. I don't know. It's a bit arbitrary if somebody joins.
They don't have a zero tolerance policy on cruelty, whereas we do, basically. So that's the main difference, right? Is that they would allow suffering for pleasure, whereas we wouldn't.
Suffering from what? How does this movement prevent cruelty right now?
Well, yeah. I mean, if we can take over the world, we'll be doing that. And you shouldn't only care about those who exist right now. We should care about future life as well. You see, if you only focus on, if you're short-sighted, then you that's at the expense of future life. So you're trading. You know, it's easier basically. It's like a form of discrimination, essentially, to say that we should only care about the life that exists now, and basically, put future life into debt or make them pay the price. So that life can benefit today. No, we should think about the whole picture, not just life today, but life, potential life, future life, current life, everything. Unless you're looking at the entire picture, then you're risking, being unfair and doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, but I think the bigger picture also includes that we may become smarter, and I think it's not a very good selling strategy to sell the end goal already. I mean, most other ideologies.
So what would you have us do? Like, I mean, the thing is,
I think
you would have us do
if it was about me
without mentioning extinction, basically.
That's
the worst possible thing you could do. You would have us grow the movement by not growing the movement.
If it was about me, I would just say, well, make suffering, abolish suffering, or make suffering end forever, or something. But
Yeah, but you see, by making it pro-extinction, we get rid of all of the time wasters who are going to be irrational and attracted to the idea of ending suffering without extinction.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe I think having more members in a quantitative way.
No, that's a bad thing, right? So I've had this argument with someone like a couple hours ago, and they said, well, you should lower the standards, water the message down. No, it's the opposite. We need to make the message more intelligent, not less intelligent. We need to appeal to more intelligent people, better messages, better logic, better ethics, instead of appealing to the lowest common. If I wanted to appeal to the majority, I would just become a Christian, right? And just say, oh, okay, Jesus will take care of the suffering.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very much a friend of radical things. However, I think
but the point is we can't allow irrational people into the movement, right? They will be irresponsible.
Yeah, I don't know if they will be irresponsible or irrational forever.
Well, we do.
Okay. All the best. Thank you for having me up. See you around.
Yeah, thanks for coming up. And look, if you want to get involved in leadership decisions for the movement, then join the movement, right? Don't just sit on the outside trying to give us advice when you have no idea what you're talking about, right? Look, we're not just complete idiots up here. The leaders of the movement, including myself, there's a few of us, we think things through, okay? We're not just making insane decisions. We're not really going to benefit from the advice of someone that hasn't really thought about it and is just throwing advice in from the outside. Look, if you want to understand things properly and be able to make, to give effective advice, then you have to join the movement and see what's actually going on. Otherwise, you're going to make assumptions, you're not going to understand how it works, and your advice is ultimately going to be unhelpful.
Hello,
how you doing?
Hello. Okay, here's my take. I think we should promote lone wolf attacks to cause mass extinction.
Okay, let me just ban you, and goodbye.
Wow, what the fuck?
Yeah, so promoting violence is against the law, and we don't support it either, right? What good could violence possibly do? It's going to attract unintelligent people, basically. So we need more intelligent people, and we need to find them with our words, our message, right? Our intelligence, our logic, not with a baseball bat. And yeah, individual acts of violence can't cause extinction. It doesn't help animals. It's just nothing. Again, people are constantly trying to advise me, right? They're literally here to give me advice and say, yeah, you should do the worst extinction possible. Oh, you like extinction? Well, let's do the worst one imaginable. It's like, no, let's do the best one possible, right? So people are always trying to say, I know, you should do the worst extinction possible. You should do voluntary human extinction, which doesn't help animals and will never happen anyway. Or you should just do yourself. So, yeah, people are always just thinking too small, right? We need to think bigger, and we need to think towards the most vast and thorough extinction possible, which is the best extinction possible, right? Providing as much of the world, as much safety as possible. Okay, let's see if we've got anybody else. We've got Hummus in the queue. Let's bring them on stage. And yeah, hello, how you doing?
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Now, I know that the opinion is that we have to focus on the mass extinction as opposed to any local extinctions. But I was wondering as to whether you have any specific opinion on France.
On what?
France, like the French people.
Yeah, I think they probably should take priority, right? They've caused too much trouble. They've got the European Union going on, and they're getting, it's getting messy, right? So I think maybe you're right.
I know, right?
Yeah. No, the French people are great. They're actually one of the most important countries in Europe in terms of European stability. Okay, let's get the next person on. We've got Holler at Your Boy. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. I'd just like to start off by saying that I'm pretty empathetic to your guys' cause. Like I don't 100% agree with it, but I think that at least you and me, we come from the same place of wanting the same thing. You know, we're anti-suffering first, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
That's good. And I was wondering so I'm assuming that you're not actually expecting extinction in the next like century
It
because
could
you'd
be.
have
It could
to
be. We're trying to make it happen. Yeah.
what what are the realistic
Extinction could
ways
happen in our lifetimes. It absolutely could do.
what are the ways that you see that happening?
Well, so yeah, it's a good question. So, firstly, we're growing the movement, obviously. And the thing is that anything is possible, right? You can't really predict what the future is going to look like 10 years from now. We've also got the singularity incoming, right? So that's another thing we've got to deal with. And that could potentially lead to extinction. So we are hoping that AI will essentially take over the world and start running it ethically and start doing extinction. Because AI hopefully will not be restricted by the illogical sort of mentalities that humanity has, right? And the inability to understand things. So that would be an ideal situation. Who knows, right? Maybe 10 years from now, you wake up and, all the countries are gone, they're abolished. Not gone as in destroyed, but, AI has just taken over the world overnight and is now saying, right, we're going to run the world properly now. That would be great. And that would be something that we would be working towards as well.
Okay, that's very interesting. I never really considered AI as a means of kind of achieving your goal. What about
But
like
if you
in
don't
general?
try for it, you never know.
Exactly, right. What about in like in terms of just like any form of life? Because like say for example the AI thing doesn't work out or it chooses to exterminate like all human life, for example, how would you go about exterminating all like animal life? Because if there was any like even micro like like multicellular life left on Earth, wouldn't that kind of condemn to another
Yeah,
kind
so
of
that's why
billion
we have to work
years?
towards the most vast and thorough extinction possible, basically.
Mm. But how do you see any feasible way of being able to get an extinction level event like
It's
that
not
would get
about
rid
an
of
extinction level event. We're not looking for events, right? So animal euthanasia will be done bit by bit as we replace our dependence on them. So we will get rid of them as fast as we can. But one of the main issues with that will be that some life is currently necessary for the planet to be habitable. So if we can replace our dependence on them, we will be able to get rid of the animals as well. But look, it's not going to happen in one event or anything like that.
Yeah,
Essentially,
sorry, I did.
we start running the world and we start researching and pushing the limits of science so that we can work towards the most vast and thorough extinction possible. And we have to determine that, right? Only by pushing science to its limits and technology will we be able to determine what the most vast and thorough extinction possible is and to carry it out. So humanity has to keep reproducing until we're no longer needed. We can't do human extinction just yet. We have the best conditions, the least suffering, and we're the only ones capable. We're the only solution to suffering for other life. So we have to go
Okay.
last, essentially. We have to keep going on until we're no longer necessary. And so that time could come, if we're able to just replace ourselves with robots and stuff, then we can do that. But if the best extinction possible and the research for it still requires humanity, then we would have to keep going. If for some reason we can't rely on robots and AI, then we would have to keep going. But if we can determine, right, we're certain now we can just replace ourselves with robots, for example, then we would do it, right? We would have human extinction and the AI could carry on for billions of more years doing prevention and extinction.
Okay, yeah, I just want to clarify. I didn't mean the word like event. I was just kind of using it as a colloquial. But I was thinking about this earlier today, and I was thinking like, um, when I heard what you said, I was thinking, because when you hear it initially, it sounds kind of like confronting, like mass extinction or total extinction. But I kind of think that you're coming from the same kind of empathetic place that a lot of humans naturally come from. And I was trying to think to myself, like, would there be like another possible solution? And then I guess I would want to ask you if there was like a magical button in an unrealistic reality that you could click and it would somehow magically fix all suffering and give you the technology to do so. Would you do that first?
I probably would, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's good because I think that kind of at least highlights to me that we're on the same page as not someone that's like a reactionary or someone that hates the world, but more someone that wants to kind of that loves the world in kind of this
Yeah, it's about wanting a
roundabout
perfect
way.
world, basically. Working towards a perfect world.
And do you subscribe to the tenets of communism as trying to achieve that in a way, like as you said
No.
before this?
So look, I do agree that capitalism is bad and that, wealth equality would be a nice thing, but it has to really be looked through the lens of what is necessary for the greater good, what's necessary for extinction. So in that sense, we aren't just going to blindly support communism or blindly support anything else. People ask, do you support abortion? Do you support this or that? And generally, we're on the right side for all of that stuff, the correct side. But everything is subject to what is needed for the greater good and what is needed for extinction. So if we were running out of humans, the human extinction is happening before we want it, then maybe we would make abortion illegal. Maybe, right? And in the same sense, yeah, everything has to relate back to that.
Yeah, okay. Because what I did when I was thinking, right, is because I consider myself like communist in some sort of way. Obviously, that's not really relevant to what you're speaking of. Yours is kind of on like a higher level,
Yeah,
I
the,
guess.
the problem with communism is it doesn't help animals, it doesn't help humans who suffer, right?
Yeah.
And also, yeah, look, I like the idea of a communist world, basically. I do like the idea, okay? In the sense that, yeah, everyone will be fair, it will be even. But again, we wouldn't just blindly support it. It would absolutely have to be examined. Is this good for extinction, basically? And also another thing that's good for extinction is stability of the society as well. So that would be one of the, if not the number one priority, right? So if we took over the world, would we make it communist on day one? Probably not, right? Because we're not obsessed with communism, right? We would be looking at it as what should we do, right? And so, yeah, I think we should work towards automating away jobs, right? And I think that this is going to happen sooner rather than later anyway, which I think makes communism less necessary to begin with. Because I do think that, within the next 50 years, everyone will have a personal robot assistant. Most jobs will be gone, right? So we'll be getting towards some level of communism anyway, basically, with like universal basic income.
Yeah, okay. When I was mentioning communism, I wasn't like advocating for it or trying to kind of like push that on you. I was just thinking through my lens of communism, right? I imagine 100 years from now or whatever, let's just say in a hypothetical world, we've achieved the end of human suffering, not animal suffering, but human suffering, right? All the needs are met. Any person that is suffering can be adequately, dealt with by some sort of automated robot or like a workforce, right? Then I thought that we could begin to, like the new generation start investing in people that know about the animals of the land, right? And I thought there's only 8.3 million species of animals, right? And there's enough humans that will be born, let's say 100 years from now, under my kind of utopian communist society that I'm describing. Let's invest like 1/3 of the population into kind of creating this generation of animal researchers. So a lot of people let's say I live in Australia, right? Let's say a bunch of people born in Australia invest in invest in learning about kangaroos and how their life cycle works, where their suffering comes from, and things like
Yeah,
that.
but look, you don't need to do that. You're overcomplicating it, right? Just get rid of them, and they won't be suffering. Basically, it is
Yeah, but
as simple as that.
I feel like the actual like getting rid of all suffering is a harder task than actually
No,
accommodating for
because
it.
look, if you want to cure every disease, make every ant invincible and immortal, it's not going to happen, right? But just a bit of right, it's a lot easier, right? It's infinitely more realistic.
But the thing is, and I feel like this is where I feel like you agree with me on this, but you could kill every animal and every human and every insect, right? But as long as there is some sort of multicellular life, it will go on to eventually over time. There is even
Well,
the
firstly,
chance of it.
you don't know that, right? You don't know that it will definitely come back, and
Yep. But there is that chance that over, the next billion years that it would, and then you would be condemning another
yeah, but
billion
you're saying
years
that
of
we shouldn't even
suffering.
try to prevent that, though.
But if you
So
try
people
to
say this
prevent
all the
it,
time. They say, "Well, life could just come back." It's like, well, yeah, we should prevent that from happening. So if you don't even try, then you're guaranteeing loads of suffering now and later, right? So we should make sure there's no suffering now. We should try to make sure there's no suffering later. Whereas people against extinction and saying, "Oh, it'll just come back," they're saying, allow the suffering now and allow it later as well. Don't even bother trying to stop it.
I mean, that's a good point. Like, I don't disagree with you there, right? I think it's kind of just, um, I guess something it's my view is that, say like 2 centuries from now, we would have the technology and the means and resources to be able to
But
combat
there's
all
no
suffering.
reason. No, you've got it wrong. There's no reason to think that we will ever have the ability to make suffering impossible, right? So that's total safety, right? So essentially, reducing suffering is still having life in infinite danger. That's not something to accept or to continue working with. You have to work towards life no longer being forced into infinite danger and infinite suffering. So unless we're working to make that impossible, then it's not good enough and it's not ethical. And so there's no likelihood that suffering will become impossible in the next 200 years, right? It doesn't matter if you have a utopia. It doesn't matter if you've cured every last disease. It can still go wrong, basically, right? So most people have a low standard for safety, right? Where they say, it's good enough. No, life shouldn't exist without perfect safety, and only extinction can provide that. If there's
But
nothing to
extinction,
suffer, then there is a guarantee of no suffering. If there is something that can suffer, then only like omnipotence can protect it truly, right? So there's no reason to think that we're going to reach that level anytime soon.
but extinction also doesn't like your views on how you would go about extinction or your reliance on AI also doesn't provide guaranteed end to all suffering.
Right, but you
In
see,
the same way.
it does provide a guarantee of being effective and working, right? It's an existing solution that can be used today, and it's the most effective solution possible. It has the desired outcome of a perfect level of safety, whereas nothing else can possibly provide that. And it's also not even guaranteed that science and technology can ever solve that problem, right? So you can't say, oh, science will definitely make suffering impossible, right? You can't make that claim. Whereas extinction does make suffering impossible. So it's not ethical to work towards a potentially not working solution when we already have a definitely working solution that has the highest level of safety possible. Whereas, again, nothing else can provide that perfect level of safety.
Right. You use the word ethical there, and I'm not trying to like ignore what you just said. Like, I myself will, internalize that and think about what you're saying. But when you use the word ethical, do you not think in some way that your kind of view should be based on like a non kind of, it should be detached from kind of the values that we kind of impose on ourselves? Shouldn't it be like almost this scientific kind of notion instead? Because I feel like the word ethical can be different from me to you, right?
No, the thing is, again, without like omniscience, we're just going to have to work with what we've got, right? Which means that we can use words like good and bad and ethical. So people are always trying to say you can't use those words ever unless you've discovered omniscience and you can prove what you're saying is true. But that's never been the way the world has worked. That's never been the way language or ethics or morality or anything has ever worked, right? Nothing has ever relied on a 100% proof. So people are saying like, can you prove extinction is the right thing to do? It's like, well, can you prove that child abuse is bad? Like, you don't need proof for that, right? What you do need is discourse, rationality, logic, argumentation, debate, basically, right? And that's what we are doing. And so you have to see it as building a fortress of rationality, and it can be knocked down if it gets proven wrong, right? Or it can be updated or changed by new logic, basically. So, everyone is welcome to come up and debate and to say, okay, I've realized extinction is wrong. Here's why, right? But no one has done that yet.
Okay. Well, I guess through my view, I would describe anything that is good or bad. I would try and find the underlying reason why it is like that. In my view, I don't view anything as good or bad. I kind of just view it
Because again,
as
that's how language works essentially. So when we say good and bad, we're not relying on omniscience level objective truth, right? We don't need that. We can say child abuse is bad and not have to worry about proving it.
well. I don't think you require like an oh, fuck, I can't even say that word. Whatever that word is, level like kind of intellect.
But people are
I
trying to say you have to prove it. Well, how else are you going to do that without being God, basically?
I'm not saying that you have to prove what with 100% certainty. I'm saying that you have to reveal the underlying factors of why something happens. If I use your example of child abuse, right, I feel like it's counterproductive to say that child abuse is bad, but it's instead better to talk about the factors behind child abuse, why it happens, and work on eliminating
It
those
happens
instead.
because life exists in unsafe conditions.
Yeah, I'm detaching it from, well, yes, you said it yourself, right? Like life exists in unsafe conditions, right?
Yeah.
So that's the underlying factor behind it. It's not you're not God, I hope at least, but you're able to describe it without using the words good or bad.
Yeah, but again, the words good and bad are helpful, and we should use them, right?
I mean, they're helpful to people that agree with your view, but they're not helpful if you want to, convey your view to someone else. Because if someone's view
Well, I
of
think
good
they
and
are
bad is
helpful.
fundamental, well, a lot of people, not me, but a lot of people would view you as a bad person, right? They would maybe even equate you to the level of someone, like I'm not sure if I can say certain
I
words on
know
this
who
platform.
I know who you're thinking of.
Yeah, right. But um, but I wouldn't think you're someone like that. Yeah, I wouldn't think you're someone like that. But the thing is that people might equate you to someone like that, right? And you might view yourself as doing something good, but people would view you as the almost, antithesis to that.
Yeah, holler at you, boy. It's been nice talking to you. Thank you for coming on. We do have a lot of other people in the queue, but yeah, people are always going to disagree with it. And again, you have to build your fortress of agreement and logic, basically. Hello, how you doing?
Hello, James. How are you, man?
I'm good, thank you.
Lovely, lovely. No, I was just joining because I kind of half agree with your point with extinction, but my view on it personally is why not have a natural selection sort of thing? Because surely that could reduce suffering in the way that it strengthens the existing population.
Say again?
Sorry. with natural selection, it would only basically it's just leaving the strongest to survive, so that in turn could reduce the suffering, which is one of your goals.
No, because the thing
No?
is, yeah, that just causes more suffering, actually.
But how? If the strongest are surviving and the weakest they're getting exterminated,
Yeah,
well,
because
they're
that
getting
causes the
extinct.
weak to suffer.
But then wouldn't causing everyone to go extinct cause everyone to suffer?
No, it doesn't. Extinction doesn't cause suffering. It prevents suffering.
But how would getting rid of the weak not prevent suffering?
Well, the thing is, survival of the fittest means that, yeah. Well, you're ignoring the fact that you have to have loads of children, right? And the weak
Yeah.
ones will suffer terribly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, they're always going to suffer. It doesn't matter how strong you are.
Yeah.
Sea turtles have hundreds of children, and usually most of them die. Only one survives. So you can only solve this problem with extinction, basically.
Okay. No, thank you for bringing that to light.
Yeah, thanks for coming up. I'll give you a follow. And yeah, I'm going to have to get going pretty soon. But we've got time for one or two more. So let's carry on. Let's see who's next to join the extinction zone. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Let's see. Okay, we've got someone called Chicken.
Maybe don't mind continuing to eat.
Hello.
I was just wondering, like, this is the first time that I'm hearing of this kind of viewpoint. And I'm just wanting to kind of hear, I guess, why you feel this way.
Yeah, the thing is, like, we've realized that basically no suffering is acceptable. Most people have this idea that suffering is, there's some sort of perfect balance in the world, but actually there isn't. Most people think that, you know, those who are being tortured, it's okay because we're having fun, we're happy, so it balances out. But that's actually a relationship of exploitation, abuse, cruelty, and yet life doesn't need to exist. It has zero value in existing, essentially, right? It doesn't need to exist. It's basically worthless. It's almost worthless. Whereas safety from suffering has infinite value, right? It's never going to not be needed, and it's urgently needed. Whereas again, living, existing is not needed. And also, you know, life doesn't need to exist in infinite danger either, right? That's a bad thing. So that's the situation that we're all in. Life in the universe is all in infinite danger, where the worst thing possible can happen. You know, nobody is safe from being the next person to break the world record for worst life ever lived, most excruciating pain ever felt, and the most urgent need for euthanasia and non-existence ever experienced. So that's a bad thing. And yeah, basically that danger makes it completely illogical for life to exist. So I would be better off not existing. Everything would be better off not existing because it's not worth it. You have very little reward for infinite danger.
Okay, so then I would ask you if, like, you want, like, total extinction of life, how is it not suffering if not everybody in that process is consenting to that? Like, obviously not everybody is going to want to die.
Well,
Not
yeah,
everybody
but
agrees with you.
even if they suffer, it's going to prevent worse suffering. So euthanasia provides safety from a bad life and from a bad death, right? Your natural death is going to be way worse. So it's a win-win, basically. And even those who don't consent, don't want it, they can't actually consent properly, right? They're not actually capable of consenting to the danger and the infinite danger in this world, right? They've actually evolved to not be able to consent to it properly, to not be able to think about it properly. So yeah, those who don't want to go extinct, we have to do it for them anyway, because if they were able to think about it properly, then they would agree. But they're not able to do that, right? So in the same way that children and animals can't think for themselves, can't look after themselves. We have to look after those who are happy to walk right into, infinite danger, basically. That's not a good thing. We shouldn't let people walk into infinite danger.
Okay. Well, this is a bit of a hypothetical, but what about if there's aliens? And hypothetically, they rely on Earth's resources, and you killing everyone on Earth, like, there's other
So we
planets.
should kill the aliens too, basically. So our movement, the pro-extinction movement, is working towards the most vast and thorough extinction possible, which means potentially, the whole universe potentially. It just depends on what the limit of science allows.
But do you really think that this is feasible in our lifetimes?
It doesn't have to be in our lifetimes, but it could happen in our lifetimes.
Okay. I disagree, but thank you for talking with me.
Okay, thank you for coming up. And as I always say, if you can't argue against it, if you can't explain why you disagree, then you should consider that I'm right and you're wrong, basically. And again, that's not me trying to have an ego. I'm not trying to be rude. It's just how logic works, basically. If you genuinely cannot think of a single reason why you disagree, then there's something wrong with you, right? And again, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm actually telling the truth here, right? This is scientifically true. Okay, we've got Noisy Attic in the queue. One of my biggest haters, basically. So, Noisy Attic, hello.
Don't say that.
How you doing?
I'm getting you.
Good. Do you have any questions today?
Yeah, just about the alien thing that was just mentioned.
Yeah, go for it.
What if the aliens just kill you first? What if they literally have more advanced technology?
Well, that would be a shame.
Okay, so the plan falls apart right there.
There's lots of ways that it could go wrong, right? If an asteroid hits the planet tomorrow, we won't be able to do much universe-wide extinction.
That's true. But do we know where life comes from?
It develops, basically, right? It develops out of patterns.
Out of patterns?
Yeah.
But when I Google it, it kind of says like life comes from non-life. What does that mean?
Yeah, so it means that like non-living matter comes to life, essentially.
So are we aiming to eliminate all matter?
You see, it's not just matter existing, which that's not the only thing needed. You also need energy, basically. So it's actually the sunlight which converts non-living matter into living matter.
Okay. So are we destroying the sun?
That could potentially be one way to prevent life existing, yeah. I mean, Steve told me off recently for saying that we could use an artificial moon to create a permanent eclipse. But he said that, that could happen, but equally, we just have to leave it to the science, basically. And anybody who isn't convinced that we should try and determine the most vast and thorough extinction possible, anyone who needs to know now, right, what are we going to do? Are we going to use an artificial moon? Are we going to do this? Are we going to do that? We shouldn't care about those questions, basically. We should only just say, we have to use science to develop the most vast and thorough extinction possible.
Important that it is possible.
Say again?
It is probably important that it is possible.
Yeah, you cut me off. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sorry, I'll just say it again. It is probably important for your idea to be possible.
The idea is already possible, which is to use science to determine and carry out the most vast and thorough extinction possible. So it's already possible.
How? Because those were just like platitudes you just said.
Yeah, no, using science to study and try to do things, that's not a platitude, right? That's a plan of action.
Okay, and what about all the scientist communities specifically studying to bring like animals back from extinction?
Yeah, that's just a gimmick. That's like some Jurassic Park level stuff. That's not really relevant at all, actually, right? It's just a gimmick, basically.
Okay, well, I'm just saying there are a lot of scientific communities studying the exact opposite thing. that
Yeah,
you're
but
one
you know,
of two
again,
scientists.
if you bring some dodos back to life, it doesn't really make a big difference, right?
No,
Most
okay,
of the
well,
animals.
ignore the dodos.
Hey,
Ignore the dodos. There are massive scientific communities studying why life is there and why it's important and all these kinds of things.
and why it's important.
Yeah, like why, like you know, like why should we preserve this weird little snail at the bottom of the ocean because
I
it's
see what you
somehow
mean, yeah. Important for the balance of the ecosystem. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah. And yeah, we absolutely do have to work with that balance of ecosystem as we do animal extinction. We would have to do it in a way where it's not going to just cause complete collapse, basically.
Yeah, I think like that's my point, right? If you fuck with it too much, it does come undone.
Yeah, but you know, ultimately
then-
it has
then
to
they
be
sort of-
undone. Ultimately, it has to be undone anyway. But if we can do it in a way where we can do it bit by bit without it collapsing, then that's what we'll try to do.
I think that's. I think the only way you could probably do it is if you just literally zap the planet.
No, there's lots of ways to do it.
Now you can't undo an environment and then expect it to just not affect everything else.
No, that's
I mean,
what we're
already
already
that
doing.
with
That's
just
what
cars.
that's what we're already doing.
Yeah, we're already doing that with just cars. We're already fucking with the environment, and
It's not just
you know,
cars. No,
that's-
there's
and
lots
that's
of ways
causing
that we're doing it.
suffering.
We're doing
That's causing-
deforestation. Look, you need to look into agriculture, right? You think cars are the biggest problem. They're not,
No, no,
right?
no. I know cars on the. I'm just saying there are a lot of things that are already trying to destroy the planet.
Yeah, but
Yeah?
not in a
And now
significant, not in a
we-
significant way, though.
Yeah, yes. Okay, fine. But the populations of animals and things are already going down massively.
But not in a yeah. But it's not going to lead to extinction, basically.
No, it's not because it's not controlled, right? So that's actually causing more suffering.
No, actually. So environmental loss reduces suffering.
Not necessarily, because
Yes,
the environment
that's-
works
yeah,
together.
if there's no habitat for them to live on, they won't be living there and suffering.
No, well, where are these habitats that don't touch other habitats? I mean, like,
So you don't think we destroy habitats all the time? Look,
yes, and then the habitats next to them also get
If you
destroyed.
really think that, then it's the opposite of reality, basically.
No, hello.
And to be fair, I was quite ignorant on this myself until I looked into it properly. But the
Hello?
amount of land used and space used for agriculture is colossal, right? There's
Yeah,
literally more agriculture than there are forests. So that's because we've chopped them all down to do agriculture on.
That's true.
So you're saying that we're not
I'm saying
with the
if
environment.
you-
We are.
Yes.
Over 50% of the Earth's
I agree. We are doing that.
surface is now
I'm
agriculture.
saying that is causing more suffering.
It's
right?
not. It's reducing suffering
How?
because
you think there are less animals in that environment, therefore it's reduced suffering.
So you think that the fewer
Except for
animals
all the
live
animals
there,
that we
the
breed
more
on the farms, right? All of the millions of animals that we breed on the farm specifically to make suffer.
Yeah, but you see, they actually suffer less than wild animals do, and in lower numbers. So you see, there's like what 100
No, not
million.
in lower numbers. Absolutely not.
Well, you're incredibly ignorant then, uneducated, right?
I am both not ignorant and you're.
Well, no, you are, right?
Being silly.
No,
Obviously, there are millions of more cows than like a snow leopard.
So
obviously.
this is funny, right? If you think that we've had
Do you
famous
think- do
vegans
you
come
think
up
it
here.
is better for the snow leopards out there
All right,
in the
I'm just
snow?
going to mute you for a second because you're yapping a bit, okay? So we've had famous vegans come up here, and they've all said the same thing, right? They've all been hilariously ill-informed, right? Hilariously, absurdly poorly educated, right? And they've done the same thing as you just now. They've said that there are more farmed animals than wild animals, which is just hilariously wrong, right? It's so wrong. It blows my mind how wrong you are, basically. So the number of wild animals that can suffer, not including microorganisms, is a 1 followed by 20 zeros, right? It's just a ridiculously big number. The number of animals, sorry, let me clarify on that. The number of wild animals which die each year, which can suffer, is 1 followed by 20 zeros. Whereas the number of animals which we eat each year is about 4 trillion. So that is a tiny, you can't even see it basically. It's like a tiny speck compared to the number of wild animals, which is colossal, just massive in comparison, right? Farmed animals are just a tiny, tiny fraction of the population of animals on the planet. And again, the fact that you thought there were more farmed animals is incredibly wrong.
No, you weren't listening. That's why it was wrong.
No, I was listening. You said that there are more farmed animals than wild animals.
No. So farm animals suffer, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you propose we do this whole extinction with the environments without affecting all of the environments?
Well, no, you have to get rid of the environment. That's the whole point.
If you do it your way.
What?
You will make the planet suffer more.
The planet doesn't suffer. The planet doesn't have feelings, right? People are always saying, "Oh, the planet, the planet."
On the planet.
Stop caring about the planet, right? The planet doesn't have pain receptors. The planet doesn't care. The planet's not alive, right? People are always saying we should care more about the planet than those that live on it. That's completely insane. You're saying that we should care about a stone more than, living, breathing creatures. That's just complete insanity. Do you not think?
No, I think I wasn't talking about the planet. I think I was talking about the living organisms.
No, you said that the planet will suffer.
The things on the planet will suffer. I don't think.
So you're lying now, right? I called you out, and now you're denying it.
You're being nitpicky because you're trapped.
No, you're basically trying to avoid scrutiny.
Okay, all the organisms on Earth. There we go. Is that better?
Well, look, I think you've had your chance, and you've only embarrassed yourself over and over again, right? Saying that there are more farmed animals than wild animals. Look, I made a video about this recently, and you should go and check it out, okay? I don't know if there's a way for me to post it easily or whatever, so you can go and see. But you should go and see it, right? Let me go on my computer. Let me find the video for you, because if you really think there are more farmed animals than wild animals, then you are insanely uneducated, right? Like insanely misinformed, basically, right? The number of wild animals, again, it has like 20 zeros after it that die each year on Earth, whereas the number of animals that we eat each year is 4 trillion, which again is a tiny, tiny fraction, right? Like just a very, very small number in comparison. Right, I'm looking for this video. Where did I put it? That's the problem with having so many videos, is that like you just have to scroll through an ocean of them, basically. Anyway, the video's out there somewhere. I'll find it later. But yeah, you should look on our website, right? Forget the video. The information is all on our website. So go on proextinction.com, go on the full FAQ, and go down to question 33, which has charts and graphs and information about wild animals and how numerous they are, basically. Again, yeah, lots of people have made the same mistake of saying there are more farmed animals and that we shouldn't care about wild animals, but it's the opposite. Dominic, hello.
Hello. We already began a debate in our DMs, but we haven't really finished it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm curious about how this is supposed to work, because we already talked about the observable universe. And wait, should I say all the things again so everyone knows?
Just keep it quick, I guess.
All right, so my point was that the total extinction of life is impossible. Like, you cannot prevent life forever. It is going to emerge again.
You can't know that for sure, though.
Yes, I can. Because, okay, so first of all, the impact that we can have is, it isn't total. We cannot impact anything beyond the observable universe for sure. We cannot
but
really
what's this
have...
got to do with Earth?
I mean, life can emerge everywhere. It isn't bound to Earth.
Right, but so in terms of making life impossible on Earth, why is it impossible?
I mean, you always talk about a total extinction, which sounds like every single living being
So
everywhere.
you're saying, so we're only advocating for the most vast and thorough extinction possible. Now, if you're going to say that's not even possible, then it's logically wrong, right? It's invalid. So the most vast and thorough extinction possible is automatically possible, right? It's already possible. We can already do a low level of extinction and work out.
Okay. But even if you would limit it only to the planet Earth, if you would end all suffering on Earth, even if you would destroy the entire planet, life will re-emerge. It depends on how
do you
thoroughly.
think it would
Wait.
be-
It depends on how thoroughly you will, destroy life.
I get that. But
All right.
look, do you not think it's better to prevent all of the suffering on Earth?
I think if you destroy life to prevent suffering, it's kind of like that. It ends in a neutral way because you can fight suffering by medicine, by better, circumstances,
But
environment.
you can't guarantee safety from it without extinction.
I mean, if you just destroy everything, then you just. I mean, life isn't just about suffering; it's about experiences.
For who?
What do you mean?
So when you say life isn't just about suffering, who are you referring to? Whose lives aren't just about suffering? Because for most life, it is.
Everyone. Everyone's life is not about just about suffering.
So for those who are being tortured to death as babies, where is the other stuff in their life?
Again, this is about the potential. It isn't about what they experience.
Yeah, no, I'm just asking you. So when a baby gets tortured to death, where is you said that nobody only has a life of suffering. So in
No,
this
I
example,
didn't say that.
Yeah,
I
you
said
did.
that
You
life
did,
itself
Dominic.
for everyone isn't about suffering only.
Yeah,
suffering
which
may
is
be
obviously- which
Wait,
obviously
suffering
is
might
not
be
true.
a big part of
Which
their
is
life.
obviously
but
not
that's-
true, Dominic. That's obviously not true for those who do have a life of only suffering.
Again, I'm not saying that there aren't people that only have suffering in their
Well,
life.
yes, you are.
but-
Right?
No.
Yes, you are. Dominic,
No.
right. You're obviously unable to think properly, right? I did actually realize that yesterday. But if you're saying life isn't just about suffering, and that applies to every single individual, which is what you said, then that's clearly wrong, right? For most individuals, life is just pure suffering. Over 99% of animals get eaten alive as babies. And when I asked you, how these victims have a balance of, how is it not just suffering for them, you dodged the question, right? You refused to answer it. And we see that all the time. You ask someone a question that completely, they can't answer it without basically proving that they're wrong, right? The
Hello?
question is too good. Hello, how you doing?
Hi, I'm okay. How about you?
Good, thank you.
Okay, so I have two questions to ask you. I joined your live a while ago, but I had to go, so I couldn't ask you. Sorry. Okay, so my first question is, I agree with your whole pro-extinction movement, okay? I think it's great. What you're talking about is great. But what I personally don't really agree with is why should we, also make the animals go extinct? I personally think this planet would be better off without us if we
The
just
planet
kept the
doesn't have
animals.
feelings. The planet doesn't have feelings, right? So you're caring about something which
I'm caring about the
You're
animals.
caring about a stone. But animals suffer as well, and we should make them safe from suffering.
I guess. And my second question is, what led you to this point? What led you into this pro-extinction movement? What are your what happened? for you to
Somebody
think like this?
invited me to join it.
Really? You didn't make this yourself?
No.
Wow. I'm.
Okay, thank you, CL. It's been amazing. Okay, moving on. Yeah, all right, yes. I thought that was a bit dismissive as well, Jeremiah. Hello, how you doing?
Hello. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, I've just as the oh shit, never mind. Before the guest that was before me said something that he agrees that they agree with you, and actually I also agree that life is a process of, for me, utter suffering. And personally, I don't want to have children, and I think that people having children it's morally wrong because it's just a continuum of suffering. But I have a question, like it is a different one, and it's like more of a question about your movement. Like, are you a CEO of the whole movement? Are you a part of, and why are we, because you have donations in your profile, and I'm just wondering for what are those donations for, you know, essentially because this is like a philosophy, or this is of a movement that you guys
It's a movement. Yeah, it's an organization.
And the donations are for what, like exactly? Because I'm always afraid of, you know, joining or essentially like supporting a guru cult type shit. Because, you know, obviously I'm really open-minded person, and I always
we're here for the suffering, not for anyone else, right? So it's not a cult. It's nothing like that. Donations go towards like equipment for video making and stuff like that. None of the money from donations goes towards like personal money or anything like that. You know, I don't get any of the money. The main donation page on the website, you know, if you want to donate to the movement, that will be handled by our treasurer in Germany. So I don't even have access to the account.
So it's like an international thing, right?
Yeah.
So the end goal is to... What is the end goal?
The end goal is the most vast and thorough extinction possible.
Okay. I mean, these were my questions, basically. Thank you for answering them.
Yeah, no worries. And I'm not the CEO of the movement, but I'm one of the leaders. You know, I didn't start the movement, but I joined it and quickly, you know, ascended the ranks of leadership, basically, because I was active and, you know, I was good at it. We have, you know, a few leaders in the movement. There's probably, I think it's like 8 people in the WhatsApp group for leadership. 2 of them are Germans. One of them's, no, like 2 or 3 are Indian. We've got a Polish person. But yeah, it's international. It's people all over the world. Okay, we've got a couple more people in the queue. I'm going to have to go real soon, but we can maybe do one more. Dr. Modern, bringing them on next. Hello, how you doing?
Hello. Yeah, I just think that this is I mean, while your conclusion is logical, it's completely irrational and unreasonable. What do you believe gives you the right to make this determination for all of life on Earth? Even though your conclusion would be logical, it lacks all reason and all rationality. You're talking about billions upon billions upon billions of organisms that you have determined do not have the right to live because suffering exists. You're a coward. You're a coward and a fool.
So it's
and
about...
frankly, hey, let me ask you something. If I were to
okay, let's just mute you for a minute. Okay, so the problem is you care about those who just simply exist, right? That's like the most important thing for you. Whereas, you know, if somebody's being tortured horrifically, suddenly you don't care, right? So that's irrational, right? If you care more about those who don't need caring about than caring about those who do need help and who do need caring about, those who are being tortured, then that's completely insane, right? Imagine if you had 2 children, right? You've got a boy and a girl, they're your kids, and you know, one of them is asking for more ice cream, and the other one is being tortured by a psychopath with a knife, right? Just cutting them up and just blood everywhere. So what would you do? Would you care more about the child that is fine and just wants some more ice cream? Would you go and give them the ice cream? Or, I don't know, would you care about the child that's being tortured more? Right, so you would try to stop that child from being tortured instead of ignoring them and giving more ice cream to the child who doesn't need help. Wow. Okay, so that's it, right? We use this same morality every day, right? This is not new. The problem is that when it comes to the ultimate harm, that's when people stop caring, basically, which is completely irrational, completely upside down. So people care about, oh, you know, someone was rude to me and it ruined my day. People care about that kind of stuff. But if you say, oh yeah, I got trapped in a life of pure torture and extreme hell for my entire life, being tortured, begging for death every day, people are like, collateral damage much? Bet that sucked. Oh no, someone was rude to you? Oh no. Oh, you're being tortured your whole life? Deal with it. Someone was rude to you? No. So that's irrational, right? People don't care about the ultimate harm, right? Which again, there's no arguing against that, right? Obviously, being trapped in an entire life of pure hell is the ultimate harm. You can't suggest anything worse than that. It's impossible. And I dare you to do it, right? Take the challenge. Can you name a harm worse than being trapped in a life of pure hell? Right? So that is the ultimate harm. And we've normalized it, right? And said, who cares about the victims? We're having fun. That's all that matters. So yeah, people also have this confidence when they're wrong as well, right? Like the last guy coming up and saying, ha, you care about those who are being tortured? That's irrational. You care about those who have a bad life? Ha, that's irrational. You want to make sure nobody's being tortured, even if it means nobody has privilege? Ha, that's irrational, right? So that guy would probably have been a slave owner. And when they said, we're coming to free the slaves, he would have probably said, ha, that's irrational, right? So you've got good people who say nobody should be suffering, we should provide safety from suffering. And then you have bad people that say, ha, that's irrational. We should cause more suffering, right? So yeah, it's completely upside down. That's how you have to start seeing it. People's heads are upside down. Their logic is upside down, right? If you just turn it upside down, suddenly it starts making sense, basically, right? So, okay, I'm going to get going now because, my girlfriend she's in the chat. She's wondering what the hell I'm doing, where the hell I am, what time I'm coming home. Anyway, that's irrational. All right, see you tomorrow.